All right, so this will bring me to my last player prop. I'm gonna go back to the quarterback position here, Sleepy, and I'm looking at Matthew Stafford. Or there's two I was between, but I'll give you this one, Matthew Stafford, because I don't want to give out the same guy again. But Matthew Stafford over on his passing yards in this game. That number is currently sitting at 240 and a half. And another theme this season has been passing yards against the Minnesota Vikings defense. And looking at the numbers here, let's start with that. Quarterbacks against the Vikings this season averaged close to 262 passing yards per game, 261.5 to be exact. They also had 37 attempts per game and close to 24 completions per game in that span there as well. But the strength of this Vikings defense is what their rush defense. I know they fell off a cliff a little bit in the last game, I should say, against Jahmyr Gibbs. But Jahmyr Gibbs, we've talked about a lot that he's just on a whole nother level, especially when since David Montgomery went down. But I like Matthew Stafford. He has again a lot of playoff experience. You know, he won the Super Bowl obviously with the um, Rams just a few seasons ago. And this team is healthy as well, right? Poku Nakua, Cooper Kupp. I know they have Kyron Williams. And these two teams did match up earlier this season. I believe that was in Minnesota. And in that game, Matthew Stafford threw for, let's see here, 25 of 34 for 279 yards in that game. And then you take a look at what he's done in the playoffs throughout his career, right? He's played in 8 career playoff games between the Detroit Lions and the LA Rams. There's only been 2 of those 6 games where he's fell below this projection. Everything outside of that was 200 or 83 more passing yards in those games for Matthew Stafford. So I think that if the Rams possibly want to pull off the upset here or want to have success on the offensive side, I really think that it will be on the shoulders of Matthew Stafford here for the Los Angeles Rams. I would also expect Cooper Kupp and Poku Nakua also obviously to have big games here, but officially I'll give you Matthew Stafford over 240 and a half passing yards here, Sleepy.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned this prop too. So I was thinking about Stafford, but then I was thinking, how the hell could we go 0-2 if we just play Nakua and Cup over their yardage? If one of these guys gets doubled, the other guy's going over. Like he's gonna go way over. And I'm thinking, well, maybe just play them both because you know that this is where Stafford's going to go. Like Nakua is going to get double digit targets for sure. There's been multiple games. I think he's had three or four games this year where he's had 13 or 14 targets. Like that's where Stafford is going to go. And if there's any type of pushback from this Vikings secondary against Nakua, then he's going to go to Cooper Kupp. So it kind of goes with your prop. If you're thinking Stafford's going over, then I know one of these guys are going. There's just no way in hell that one of these guys aren't going over. It's not going to happen. I think Nakua is going to be the guy. I think he's going over for sure. But I would not be surprised if Nakua and Kupp both went over along with Stafford. I like the Rams in this game, to be honest with you. I think that they win this game outright. I think Minnesota's. I think they're going to struggle. I think that they just put way too much into that Detroit game there, Munaf, trying to get that number 1 seed, and they had no choice. But now you got to make a road trip. You went from potentially being a 1 seed now to a 5th seed against a team that's very well rested. So I like the Rams. I like your pick, and I like both of these guys to potentially go over.
Yeah, and I was also looking at Cooper Kupp on his receptions. That number was at 4.5, which made me scratch my head a little bit. Look, I know that with Puka Nakua there, that you could say that he's the number 1 guy now, right? At least looking at it from a statistical standpoint. But let's not forget, man, Cooper Kupp has been a target machine. He's a reception machine. And I think when the lights are on the brightest, like they are in the playoffs here, I think that he's also gonna, have a big game here as catching passes from Matthew Stafford. So that was another one that I was looking at here for the Rams and the Vikings game.